Hello, friends of Doses de Cultura. Welcome to an exciting new challenge. Today we bring you 100 general knowledge questions that will test your knowledge in a variety of fascinating topics. Are you ready to show how much you know and learn new things? Let's get started. What is a kimono? The kimono is a traditional Japanese garment characterized by its T-shape, wide sleeves, and a belt called an obi. Although today it is mainly worn at special ceremonies such as weddings or festivals, the kimono used to be in everyday clothing in Japan for centuries. Each design and color can have a deep cultural meaning related to the season of the year, social status, or the event being attended. Which philosopher wrote The Social Contract? Jean-Jacques Rousseau. What is the lightest metal on the periodic table? Lithium. In which city in the United States is the famous Hollywood sign located? In Los Angeles. What is the name of the energy contained in food? Calories. What is the process called by which water changes from a liquid to a gaseous state? Evaporation. If a clock shows 3 o'clock and 90 minutes pass, what time will it be? (4:30). What alcoholic drink is in an Irish coffee? Whiskey? Which country is the origin of bandeja paisa? From Colombia. Which planet has a storm called the Great Dark Spot? The Great Dark Spot is a huge storm on Neptune, similar to Jupiter's Great Red Spot. It was discovered by the Voyager 2 probe in 1989 and is about the same size as Earth. What is the term for the irrational fear of clustered small holes? Is it trypophobia? Who was the Macedonian leader who conquered much of the known world? Alexander the Great. What do you call a triangle that has a 90-degree angle? Right triangle. Which human organ can partially regenerate after damage? The liver. If x plus 3 plus 9 equals 19, what is the value of x? (17). In which country is it believed that domino originated from? In China. Elephants are excellent swimmers, true or false? Is it true? Even though it may seem surprising because of their size, elephants are excellent swimmers. They can move easily in the water, hold their breath for several minutes, and even use their trunk as a snorkel. They are able to swim long distances and cross rivers or lakes without any problems, which has helped them during their migrations over time. Which of these symbols represents infinity? The one in option A. Which country did Argentina fight against in the Falklands War? Against the United Kingdom. What legendary sword is said to have been forged by the wizard Merlin for King Arthur? Excalibur. What ingredient is key in the preparation of a risotto? Rice. In which country are you if you are swimming at a beach in La Coruña? In Spain. Which of these materials is a good electrical conductor? Copper. Which medical specialty treats heart disorders? Cardiology. What does the prefix anti mean? Opposite. What is the demonym for someone from Portugal? Portuguese. Which Spartan king was defeated at the Battle of Thermopylae? Leonidas I was the legendary Spartan king who led 300 Spartans and a few Greek allies against the massive Persian army at the Battle of Thermopylae in the year 480 before Christ. Although it was a military defeat, their heroic resistance became a symbol of bravery and sacrifice. Their story has inspired works, movies, and remains an emblem of the Spartan spirit. What is the square root of 144? "12. Which one is the flag of Scotland? Flag C. Which company created the first mobile phone? Motorola. In which Disney movie does Princess Ariel appear? In The Little Mermaid. How long does a train traveling at 90 kilometers per hour take to cover 270 kilometers? 3 hours. What ingredient makes bread rise when baking? Yeast. What does the acronym GDP mean in economics? Gross domestic product. What is this girl's name? Mafalda. What unit is used to measure the purity of gold? Carats. In which city did the crimes of Jack the Ripper occur? In London. The crimes of Jack the Ripper took place in the dark and impoverished neighborhood of Whitechapel in London at the end of the 19th century. The killer mainly targeted women and was never identified, which has fueled theories and legends for more than a century. To this day, it remains one of the most famous and enigmatic cases in criminal history. What is the other name by which the homoplate bone is known? Scapula. Who was the United States president during the September 11, 2001 attacks? George W. Bush. Where was Pablo Picasso born? In Spain. What country is north of Mexico? The United States. What is the United Kingdom capital? London. What is the title of this painting? Las Meninas. According to the Bible, what was the name of the giant defeated by David with a sling and a stone? Goliath. What is the last sign of the zodiac? Pisces. Which 2024 movie was awarded the Oscar for Best Picture? Anora. What was the ancient trade network linking China, Europe, and the Middle East called? The Silk Road was a network of trade routes that flourished from the 2nd century before Christ during the Han Dynasty in China until the 15th century. It connected Asia with Europe and the Middle East, allowing the exchange of goods such as silk, spices, precious stones, as well as cultural and scientific knowledge. In which century did the Middle Ages begin after the fall of Rome? In the 5th century. Which Greek philosopher was sentenced to death for corrupting the youth? Socrates. What is the only even prime number? Two. How many liters of blood does the average adult human body have? Between 5 and 6 liters. Which country are Cartagena, Santa Marta, and Barranquilla in? In Colombia. Where was the actress Salma Hayek born? In Mexico. What part of the body is missing from the sculpture of Venus de Milo? The famous sculpture of Venus de Milo, which represents the Greek goddess Aphrodite, is known for its classical beauty and for lacking arms. Although her original posture and what she was holding in her hands remain a mystery, her incomplete elegance has made her one of the most recognizable icons of ancient art. What is the science that studies objects, structures, and human remains from the past called? Archaeology. Which country is called the Asian giant? China. Who succeeded Benedict XVI as Pope in 2013? Pope Francisco. How many sides does a rhombus have? Four sides. Which ancient city was famous for its library, one of the largest in the ancient world? The Library of Alexandria was founded in the 3rd century before Christ in Egypt, was one of the most important centers of knowledge in the ancient world. It is estimated to have held up to 700,000 papyrus scrolls from across the known world. Its goal was to gather all the knowledge of humanity, but unfortunately it was destroyed in a series of fires, which meant the loss of countless classical works. What is the name of the closest point of a planet to its star? Perihelion. What is the Greek mythological underworld called? Hades. Who led the independence movements in Argentina, Chile, and Peru? José de San Martín. What's the world's tallest building? The Burj Khalifa. Which Spanish team did Messi play for most of his career? At Football Club Barcelona. What does botany study? Plants. What is the name of the sound that frogs make? Ribbit. What is the condition called where a person can smell colors or taste sounds? Synesthesia. It's an uncommon phenomenon where the senses are intertwined. Someone might smell a color, see sounds, or even taste a word. Though it sounds unbelievable, it's real and occurs due to an unusual brain connection. Who sculpted the Pietà, one of the most famous sculptures in the world? Michelangelo. What is the second book of the Bible? Exodus. What were the fighters called who fought in the Roman Colosseum? Gladiators. What color is pesto sauce? Green. What is the unit of measurement for temperature in the International System of Units? Kelvin. What types of vehicles does Boeing make? Airplanes. What type of device protects the circuit against electrical overloads? The fuse. The fuse is a safety device that protects electrical circuits against overloads and short circuits. It contains a metal filament that melts when the current exceeds its safe limit, interrupting the electrical flow and preventing major damage or fires. Which human organ is enclosed by the pericardium? The heart. In which country is the city of Aleppo? In Syria. What does the F stand for in the acronym UFO? The acronym UFO stands for Unidentified Flying Object. Which Asian country was called Burma until 1989? Myanmar. Which famous football stadium in Brazil hosted 2 World Cup finals? The Maracanã. Which Greek mythological hero completed 12 impossible tasks? Heracles. What color is the black box on airplanes? Despite its name, the black box on airplanes is actually bright orange. This color is used to make it easier to locate among the wreckage in the event of a plane crash. Hugo Chavez was president of which country? Venezuela. The moon emits its own light, true or false? False. The moon does not emit its own light. What we see is the sunlight reflected on its surface. That's why its brightness varies depending on its position relative to the Earth and the sun, creating the different lunar phases. Though it appears bright in the night sky, it's really just a large natural mirror in space. What element is the basis of organic chemistry? Carbon. What is the name of the imaginary line that marks the boundary between Earth's atmosphere and outer space? The Kármán line. What is the name of the princess in Shrek? Fiona. Which country suffered the highest number of casualties during World War II? The Soviet Union suffered the most casualties in World War II, with an estimated more than 20 million deaths among civilians and military personnel. The Eastern Front was one of the bloodiest of the conflict, with devastating battles such as Stalingrad and Leningrad. Which Chilean dictator ruled from 1973 to 1990 after a coup d'etat? Augusto Pinochet. Who invented the lightning rod? Benjamin Franklin. Which metal is commonly used in electrical wires due to its high conductivity? Copper. What type of animal is a whale? Mammal. Which historical figure said Beni Bidi Bici? Julius Caesar. Which leader crossed the Alps with elephants to invade Rome? Hannibal. Which war is known as the Great War? The First World War. On which continent is Bangladesh located? In Asia. What event caused the United States to enter World War II? The attack on Pearl Harbor. Which city has the most bridges globally? Hamburg. Who plays the Terminator in most of the movies in the saga? Arnold Schwarzenegger. What is the chemical symbol for nickel? And Which species of bear is completely vegetarian? The panda. Did you want more? Click on any of the videos you see on the screen. And keep learning with Dosis de Cultura.